Hello, everyone. And today I am here to bring a smile to all your faces, but I can't do it alone. I need Judge Tammi to help me.
And this is case 2020 CR 08398. You're charged with no license, count one, license not on person, count two, counts three and four, giving a false name, address, or date of birth. Miss Cook, how does your client plead to these offenses?
Anna, she will be entering a guilty plea to count one and count three. It's my understanding the state is going to now press count two and count four.
All right. So, Ms. Smith, by entering a plea of guilty to counts one and three, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And Ms. Smith, if you're not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
All right. Factual basis, please.
On October 27, 2020, officers were conducting a road safety check at the intersection of Woodward Road and Flat Shoals Road in Clayton County, Georgia. During the road safety check, a silver sedan being driven by a Black female did approach. Officers did request the female driver produce her license, and she advised that she did not have her license on her person. At that time, officers did provide the driver with a pen and paper to provide her information. She provided Mia Harris, date of birth, September 3rd, 1987. Officers did provide this information to radio, and they were advised that there was no return. The officers again asked the driver for her information, and the same information was given. At that time, she was further detained to proceed with the investigation. Once she was detained, she did identify herself as Jalisa Smith, date of birth June 12th, 1988. Once provided to dispatch, it did come back that she had an expired learner's permit out of Georgia and 2 warrants. She was taken into custody and charged with no license on person, and given false name and date of birth. The state's recommendation is credit for time served to count one, and then to count three, 12 months served 30 days, balance suspended with no new violations of the law.
Ms. Cook?
Anna, that is our understanding of the recommendation. We're asking the court to go along with it.
Ms. Smith, who's Mia Harris?
This is my sister.
Okay, so you're about to get my good lecture. So, Miss Smith, imagine if your sister's driving around and she gets stopped by the police and they tell her, ma'am, you got a ticket that you never responded to. We're going to have to take you to jail. And she says, no, I don't. I haven't been stopped. And they say, yes, you have. And then it escalates from there to the point where your sister's face down on the ground with her skin in the concrete, and an officer with a gun to her head. What happens then?
Honestly, Your Honor, I wouldn't let it get that far. I wouldn't take it.
No, ma'am, because you wouldn't know. You wouldn't be at the traffic stop with her. And she would honestly be saying, I don't have a ticket. What are you talking about? And the police would honestly be saying, yes, you do. It's in our system. And you wouldn't be able to stop that. So what I'm saying to you is all these people who claim to love all these folks and then they give their names to the police to let anything happen. You don't know what could happen.
You're right.
So all these folk claiming they love somebody, if you got in trouble, be woman enough to deal with the trouble you got into. Don't put somebody else in trouble and put somebody else's life at risk. Do you have children?
Yes, ma'am.
You use their names too?
No, I don't.
Okay, so what is it about your sister that you just don't care about her?
I care about my sister.
No, you don't, ma'am. No, you don't. Because with the climate that we have right now, where anything could happen at a traffic stop, where police are worried about protecting themselves, where people are worried about protecting themselves, and things go awry all the time, all you have to do is watch the news. You would put your sister in jeopardy of being stopped, and then she doesn't even know that you've been using her name. but I wouldn't let it get that far. How you gonna stop it? It just kills me. Folk talking about they love somebody and then they put them in jeopardy. And then you be the first one on the news talking about the police should be fired and they should be this and this should happen and that should happen. But it was you. So Miss Smith, and let's put it this way, you picked up 2 useless charges. I don't know what the warrants were for, but I tell you, you picked up 2 additional charges that you didn't need.
Yes, ma'am.
I had a guy spend 7 days in jail one time. You know what he did? He got a ticket for jaywalking, and then he gave a false name, address, or date of birth. Do you know what the 7 days were for? The state of false name, address, or date of birth. The jaywalking ticket would have been $15, but he thought he was slick. So he spent 7 days in jail instead of getting a $15 ticket. Stop doing stupid stuff. And you got kids. How old are your children?
I only have one son. He's 7.
You got a 7-year-old child. I got a 7-year-old son. And let me tell you, he is the smartest person in our family right now. I kid you not. He asks questions. He observes everything. He knows everything. And so you have spent all this time away from your child because of stupid stuff you did, but you're raising a child. Is this how you're going to raise him? Don't stand up for what if you've done something, don't face up to your responsibilities. Lie, get other people in trouble. Is this how you're raising your son? And let mommy be away from you during a time when COVID is running rampant. You could bring that home to him. You've been away from him. You're not there to protect him and take care of him during the time you've been in jail because you're not facing up to your responsibilities. You're not taking personal responsibility. Do you understand me, Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Is any of this getting through to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Because what I don't want is a 7-year-old boy sitting at home wondering where his mama is and being told lies just to placate him while you sitting in jail for stupid stuff. And you putting your sister in jeopardy also. Is she who taking care of your son?
No.
Who's taking care of your son?
My grandmother.
And that's another thing. Your grandmama took care of her children and you. Why would you put a 7-year-old? I got a 7-year-old, and I'm probably not anywhere close to your grandmama's age. Do you know how 7-year-olds can drive you nuts? They have way too much energy. So why would you be putting your grandmother in charge of a 7-year-old? That's your responsibility.
1399.
Ms. Smith, I just can't even tell you. I really can't tell you.
Yeah.
How irresponsible you have been. And you'll do the same thing again because you'll think you slick. But let me just let you in on something. We live in a world where you can open your phone with your face. So you think that the police aren't going to figure out who you are? They have what they call a rapid ID unit. They can bring a fingerprint unit to the traffic stop and figure out who you are. So if you've got something that you need to deal with, go ahead and get it taken care of before they come and find you. The fact that you had 2 warrants pending lets me know that you didn't take care of what you had pending. So they had to pick you up at a traffic stop and leave your son unawares, because wherever you went out, I'm sure he didn't expect that you were not going to come home. We clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So start acting like a grown-up. Stop doing stupid stuff. And I'm fussing at you on behalf of your 7-year-old child. How long you been in jail?
21 days.
How long?
21 days.
21. Spent 21 days without his mama during a pandemic. Probably don't know what to think about where you are and why you're not with him. Do you keep him all the time, or is he always with your grandmama?
I keep him.
Okay. Just think about them 21 days that you deprived him of and how worried he must have been. I'm fussing because I don't want you to do this stupidness again. We clear?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So I will send you to credit for time served on count one. On count three is 12 months to serve 30 days. Balance will be suspended as long as you have no new violations of the laws of the state of Georgia. And have you dealt with those other two things, the warrants that were outstanding, or do you have to go to another jail after you leave here?
No, I think that I went to court already for the violation of probation here for Lake City. And I don't know if they lifted the hold for Fulton or not.
Okay, but please understand that when you got stuff hanging out there, you don't know when they'll pick you up. You don't know what'll happen. What if your child had been in the car and saw you got arrested? Was he?
No.
Okay, but imagine if the trauma that he would suffer if he saw that. Take care of your business before it comes to get you. You have a child and you can't afford to leave a baby without some support or without some stability. You can't just have stuff hanging out there like that. We clear? All right. So you can go back with the sheriff's office. Thank you. Counts 2 and 4 will be no pros.
Do I get for the time I already served converted?
Yes, ma'am. I'll give you credit since the date of lockup. Don't use your name, your sister's name no more. We clear? Because you know what? Had you signed a ticket with your sister's name on it, you'd be facing a felony right now. Are we clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Probably 2 of them. If I remember from magistrate court, yeah, 2 or 3. You could have been facing two felonies at least. All right, go back with the sheriff's office and think about what I said.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Jade. Douglas is speaking. The microphone. Oh, I can't hear it. Why is it not working? I hate this stuff. What happened, yo? Oh, done speaking. What do you mean? Oh, man, yo. What do I do? Your microphone is muted. How do I unmute it? Unmute start video. Allow. There you go. Okay, I see me. I don't see nothing.
Your microphone is not muted. We can hear everything you're saying.
Oh, wow. I'm bad. I mean, my bad.
So if you
Okay.
can mute it, thank you.
I can mute it?
Please mute it.
Y'all stand by. We'll be on in a second, okay? The judge will be back in a second.
Yeah, stand by. Stand by. Who is this playing a video game? The dude playing a video game. What's up with that?
Sir, your video, we need you to have your video on, and we can hear you, but if you would just stand by, the judge will be on in a minute. So you're on correctly.
Oh, good, good.
Okay, just stand by.
Right.
Is this court?
Yes,
Ma'am,
ma'am.
it
Just
is.
stand by, ma'am. Just stand by. The judge will be
Oh,
on.
okay. I'm sorry.
Okay?
I was a little confused. Sorry.
No problem. Just stand by.
All right, Mr. Nwandu, do you have a hands-free device to show me, sir?
Yes, ma'am. I got one.
All right, Mr. Nwandu is showing me what those ear pods.
And Your Honor, we'll submit a no pros in this case as well.
All right, so Mr. Nwandu, your case will be dismissed. You're free to go at this time. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. God bless you.
All right, thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
All right, Douglas Robinson.
Yes.
So, Mr. Robinson, you're charged with, Mr. Robinson, you're charged with speeding 35 and over. You know that's a super speeder, right?
Yeah, but yeah, I know that I found out talking with people to find out what this all is about, you know?
What part of New York or Pennsylvania you from?
I'm from the Bronx.
I heard it. Okay, so Mr. Robinson, you can have an attorney if you want to, or you can represent yourself. I say the super speeder thing because a lot of people think it comes from the courts. It does not. It comes from the Department of Driver Services. So the court has this is a statute about this driving under this level of speed.
Yeah.
But there's also Department of Driver Services, which handles your license. They send out, after we adjudicate the case, they send out a notice that you have a super speeder, and then you have to pay them to make sure that they don't suspend your license and privilege to drive. Okay. So when I tell people it's a super speeder, it's not for us. We have a statute for this, but we don't call it super speeder. But for the Department of Driver Services, they have some penalties for this. And it is an additional fee with them, not with us. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Because a lot of times people will come to court and they'll say, well, I paid it, I did everything, but then they'll get a notice from Driver Services and they'll think we didn't tell you everything, but it's not us, it's them. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So do you want to go forward representing yourself, or do you need an attorney?
I think I should get an attorney now, because it wasn't me. That's the thing about the whole case. It wasn't me. And the officers knew it wasn't me.
Don't tell me. Don't tell me. All right. So I'm gonna put you in the very capable hands of the attorneys at Lister and Holt, and then they're gonna have a breakout room with you and discuss your case. So if you just be patient with me, we're gonna work our way down the calendar, and we're gonna get you taken care of. Okay.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
All right. So Miss Jones, 1 second. Let me get your information.
Thank you for the time, Judge.
What's your announcement?
Mr. Douglas, Ms. Muhammad told me he's NOLO eligible, so we would like to enter a NOLO plea today.
Okay.
I can't. Oh, there you go. Okay.
All right.
Can you hear
this? Yes, sir. I can hear you and I can see you. Are you ready to go forward with the plea at this time, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Raise your right hand for me.
Right hand.
You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true.
Yes, ma'am.
So, Mr. Robinson, you're before the court on State of Georgia versus Douglas O. Robinson, 2020 CR 00903 for speeding 35 miles an hour plus. You're represented by attorney Kate Statlander with the law firm of Lister and Holt. So, sir, if you wish to enter a plea of not guilty, you could have a trial by jury or judge. Maximum penalty if you were convicted could be up to 12 months in jail, $1,000 fine, or both. But it's my understanding that Ms. Statlander has spoken with Ms. Muhammad, and you understand what they're going to ask me to do as a sentence in your case. By entering a plea of NOLO or no contest, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And Mr. Robinson, if you're not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things?
Yes.
All right. Factual basis, please.
Your Honor, on January 26, 2020, officers were patrolling on Highway 675. The officer did observe a 2016 Ford Taurus traveling at a high rate of speed. After checking the vehicle's speed, the officers did get a 100-mile-per-hour read on their lasers in a 65-mile zone. At that time, the officer did conduct a traffic stop and made contact with the driver, Mr. Douglas Robinson. The driver did advise the officer that he was trying to exit the highway. At that time, the officer issued a citation for speeding 35 miles over the speed limit. The state's recommendation is 12 months probation with a $100 fine and a defensive driving course.
POC,
Yes, ma'am.
hold on a second, sir.
Okay.
Does the state object to TLC, termination upon completion?
No, we don't object, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Statlander?
You beat me to it, Judge. That is my understanding of the recommendation as well. We just ask that you accept it as negotiated.
All right. So, Mr. Robinson, the first time I asked you to do is not stress out that Ford to the point where you're pushing it 100 miles an hour on 675. I also travel on 675. I would hope that you would not be speeding past me, sir. All right.
ma'am.
Yes. I see the requisite amount of shame. That's what I'm looking for. So, sir, I'm going to accept your plea of no contest. I'll sentence you to 12 months probation, $100 fine, which is going to be about $140 with the surcharges and the defensive driving course. Now, don't get fancy. I tell people this all the time. Don't go all over the internet looking for a course. Go on the Department of Driver Services website and get a course that they recommend. They have courses in almost every county. And those are the ones that give us the paperwork that we need to proceed. They're court accepted, okay? So just go on the Department of Driver Services website.
Department of Driver Services.
Yes, and choose one of their courses. And once you've completed that and paid the fine, you can come into the second floor of the building at 9151 Terra Boulevard. You can pay on the second floor, or you can go online to the Clayton County Traffic Court Clerk's office, and they'll tell you how to pay online, okay?
Okay, so I pay the fine after I do the course, or I could pay the fine like
in any
today or tomorrow?
order that you want to. You can pay the fine first and do the course any order, but as soon as you've done both of them, then you won't have to have any more probation reports. Now I'm going to have Mr. Austin talk to you about probation, but remember that the quicker you finish these obligations, the quicker you'll be off probation. We're clear?
Sounds good. Sounds good.
All right. So with the no contest, I believe that that might avoid the super speeder. We don't know. I don't like to speak for driver services, but I do ask that you slow down, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I'm going to put you in a breakout room with Mr. Austin. He's going to explain everything with probation. Thank you, Ms. Statlander. Thank you, Ms. Muhammad.
Ma'am,
yes.
This is Mr. Austin. For that payment, will he be paying that through probation or through the traffic court?
Mr. Douglas, do you want to pay the traffic court? Like if you want to pay it immediately, you can pay it them, or you can pay through probation.
No, I'll pay it. I'll give y'all that today.
Okay. Well, he's gonna pay it. He's gonna pay traffic, Mr. Austin. So all we have to monitor is the defensive driving course. As soon as he takes that, y'all are done.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right. So I'm gonna put you in a breakout room. Just hold on.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you,
No
Judge.
problem, sir. All right, so do we have another anybody else on the calendar at this time?
Yes, Your Honor, I'm ready to proceed on Ms. Copage as well as
Mr. Kigundo?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so Ms. Copage, come on to the podium for me, please. Raise your right hand for me. You solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true?
Yes.
All right, you're before the court having a hearing due to COVID-19. Do you still wish to have your hearing by video, ma'am?
Yes.
All right, so you're before the court on State of Georgia versus Shantel, is it Copage or Copage? Ms. Copage, for the offense of theft by shoplifting. You're represented by attorney Tamisha Cook with the law firm of Lister and Holt. You could enter a plea of not guilty, and you could have a trial if you chose to, by jury or judge. The maximum penalty, if you were convicted, could be up to 12 months in jail, $1,000 fine, or both per offense. But it's my understanding that you have spoken with Ms. Cook, and she's spoken with the state on your behalf, and you understand what they're going to ask me to do in your case. By entering a plea, what is your client plea to the offense of theft by shoplifting, Ms. Cook?
Guilty, Your Honor.
By entering a plea of guilty, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And if you're not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of these things, Ms. Copage?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Factual basis, please.
On June 27, 2017, Officer Filbert was working a part-time job at 7050 Highway 85, the Walmart in Clayton County, Georgia. The officer made contact with Mr. Anthony Jones, who stated that he observed Ms. Copage select a lip care kit totaling $2, opened the package and concealed it on her person. She then passed all points of sale without paying for the item. She was taken into custody and charged with theft by shoplifting. The state's recommendation in this case, Your Honor, is 12 months probation, that she complete a theft prevention course, that she completes 40 hours of community service, and that she does not return to the incident location, also a $50 fine.
And this was at Walmart?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Cook.
Your Honor, that is our understanding of the recommendation. We're asking the court to go along with it.
All right, so Ms. Copage. So here's the lesson, ma'am. For a $2 lipstick, you are going to spend 12 months on probation. It's $50 a month supervision fee. You're going to take a theft prevention course. The theft prevention course is at least $100, I think. I can't remember clearly, but it may be more because they've had to make some changes due to COVID. You're going to do 40 hours of community service. So you're going to give someone 40 hours of your time. And then you're not going to go to any Walmart in Clayton County for the next 12 months. Are we clear?
Yes, ma'am.
All that for a lipstick.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We're also asking for the probation to terminate upon completion of all conditions.
She can ask me that in 6 months. Miss Copage. No, Miss Copage, don't look at me crazy. You stole $2 worth of lipstick, ma'am. You should be glad that due to COVID and the fact that I got to keep these calendars moving, I'm not giving you the full brunt of my fussing out. How old are you?
29.
How much? How old? How old?
25.
25? Miss
Yana, this did happen in 2017, though. She was a little.
So she was 23, 22? She was still 20 something. Miss Copage, let's just hope that you have grown and learned beyond this. Ain't nothing free, ma'am. Everybody looking for the come up, the hook up, all of that stuff. There's nothing free in life. It all comes with a price. It's whether you're willing to be mature enough to pay the price for what you want in life, or whether you're going to try and take it, because it comes back to you one way or the other. Even if they hadn't caught you for stealing this lipstick, something else would have happened. I believe you put out into the universe, and what you put out into the universe, whether it's positive or negative, is what you get back. So either this happened or something else would have happened. All I'm saying is you have to be mindful of the fact that you are good and grown, and you don't want to be coming before a judge and risking your freedom over something stupid. We clear?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So I'm going to put you in a breakout room with Mr. Austin. He's going to explain everything with probation. And once you have completed all of the specific parts of your probation, the fee, which is the $50 fee, is going to be $73.25. The 40 hours of community community service, please make sure you keep up with your hours for community service. Please do not falsify any hours. We've had people do that and then they get charged with a felony. So please make sure that you do everything and ask all the questions you need to ask of Mr. Austin while you're on the call with him, okay? Mr. Austin's in a breakout room with Mr. Robinson right now, but if you'll hold on, as soon as he comes back, then I'll put you in a breakout room, so just have a seat, okay?
And you said in 6 months.
Oh, here's Mr. Austin.
Hey,
I'll make you this deal. You complete all of the specifics, the theft prevention course, the 40 hours of community service, and the $50 fine. And then once you show all that to your probation officer, then they can ask me to terminate the case, okay?
Yes.
All right, so that gives you incentive to get the work done. Mr. Austin, I'm gonna put you in the breakout room with Ms. Copage.
okay.
All right, thank you.
Mhm.
All right, we'll wait for Mr. For the OTB room to come back, and then we'll complete Mr. Kandu's case.
I'm finished, right?
Mr. Robinson, yes, sir. After you spoke with Mr. Austin, you're finished, sir.
Okay, thank you. You have a good one, okay?
You too, Mr. Robinson. Slow down.
All right, I will. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
How do I make sure it's gone? There it goes. It's coming. Zoom is on there. Okay.
And Judge, Miss Breeding would, I don't know if the state is going to object, but Miss Breeding would like to enter a no-low plea if the court will accept a no-low plea for her theft charge.
Well, that's kind of why I told you if you had a deviation from what y'all talked about to send a text message or an email.
Well, Judge, I just explained that I would ask the court for a no-low plea. I explained that if the court doesn't accept it, she's still going to close her plea today either way and close her case.
Okay, is she eligible for a no contest?
She informed me she's never had a theft charge, so I believe she would be eligible based on that.
All right. Anything from the state regarding that?
Your Honor, I'll accept the no-low for this case.
All right, so Ms. Breeding, raise your right hand for me, ma'am. Do you solemnly swear or affirm any testimony you give in this matter will be true? Speak up a little bit for me, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Breeding, we're doing virtual hearings because of the COVID-19 emergency. Do you wish to have your hearing virtually? And I promise you, everyone who would be in court with you, if we were having an in-person hearing, is also here on the call. Do you agree to the to the virtual hearing?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you can put your hand out. Now, you're before the court on State of Georgia versus Tanya Breeding, 2020 CR 05716. You're represented by attorney Carrie Owens, who's with the law firm of Lister and Holt. And Ms. Owens and the state have spoken about your case. Now, ma'am, you could enter a plea of not guilty. And if you did that, you could have a trial by jury or judge. The maximum penalty, if you were convicted, could be up to 12 months in jail, $1,000 fine, or both. But it's my understanding that you, after speaking with your attorney and after she spoke with the state, you have an understanding of what they're going to ask me to do with your case. By entering a plea of no contest to the offense of theft by taking, you give up the right to have a trial by jury or judge. You give up the right to have the state prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You give up the right to have the presumption of innocence in your favor. You give up the right to confront witnesses, subpoena witnesses, present testimony and evidence on your behalf, to not incriminate yourself or present any testimony or evidence against yourself. And Ms. Breeding, if you're not a United States citizen, a plea of guilty or no contest could negatively impact your immigration status. Do you understand all of those things, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're ready to go forward with a plea?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Factual basis, please.
Yes, Your Honor. On September 1st, 2020, officers were dispatched to 364 Roy Huey Drive for theft in progress. Upon arrival, they made contact with the Mr. Ricky Calhoun, who was standing on the adjoining property. He informed the officers that he observed a white female wearing a white dress with greenish flowers and no shoes enter the property. He further stated that she emptied a blue garbage can of its contents and began to fill it with other miscellaneous items that is owned by the residents of the home. Mr. William Johnson, she did remove the trash can from the location. The officers were able to locate her. They did speak with her and she did confess that she had visited the property, removed the garbage container and packed it with various items. They did identify her as Miss Tanya Breeding. They did speak with the owner of the property who did identify the garbage container as his and the items that she removed from the property as his as well. That she was taken into custody at that time and charged with theft by taking. The state's recommendation in this case is 12 months to serve 15 days, credit for time served with the balance suspended with the condition that she does not return to that location. Miss Breeding does have history here with our court. She has 4 criminal trespasses in the last 5 years, from March 2015 in Clayton County Superior Court, October 2016 Clayton County State Court, September 2017 Clayton County State Court, and July 2019, she actually just ended a suspended sentence with us here in Clayton County State Court. And that was my issue with the NOLO, but it's theft by taking. She has no other theft charges, so the state will at this time agree to her entering a NOLO.
Yeah, I remember Miss Breeding that
Mhm.
I had actually just sent a message to Miss Castaneda about whether me having remembered her. So the last 3 times prior to this that she has been before the court has been before me.
Correct.
So Miss Owens.
Yes, Judge, I've spoken with Ms. Breeding about this case. She would like to go ahead and resolve it today, so we would ask that you accept a NOLO plea and accept the recommendation of credit for time served at this time.
All right, so Miss Breeding.
Yes, ma'am.
So Miss Breeding, we meeting too often like this. The last 3 cases that you have prior to this one, you've been before me and I remembered you. It's a little quirk of mine. I tend to remember people, even with the mask on. I recognized your name. That's not a good thing, ma'am. I'm not sure what the issue is, but at some point you're gonna have to get your life together. How old are you, ma'am?
43.
I'm sorry?
43.
Okay, so you're relatively young, but life passes very quickly, trust me. And so on the track that you're on, you're gonna spend more time in jail than you're gonna spend out of it.
Right.
I'm not sure if there's a substance abuse problem.
No, ma'am.
No?
I understand. No, ma'am. I've had cancer. I've been sick, and I can only do so much, and I don't have a lot of help sometimes. And right now, my cancer keeps coming and going, coming and going. I run through. I try to keep myself busy, doing the right thing. And no, ma'am. I've been clean since 1994.
Okay, let me ask you this. Is there any family anywhere that can help you or assist you and you can assist them?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so it might be better if you could probably hook up with that family to give you some support. And then in this day and age, they may need some support from you. There may be things that you can do for them and they can do for you that can improve both your lives. You understand?
Right.
All right, because I hate to see you keep coming back. You're too young to have your life going down this track. Okay, do you have any children?
Yes, ma'am.
Where are your children?
And I'm pregnant now. I'm pregnant right now too.
Okay, where are your children that are born?
A lot of them in the military. Well, I just graduated. I got 322 scholarships. We're getting ready to relocate now. It's a lot.
Okay, and you're pregnant now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so ma'am, jail is not a good place for a person who's carrying a baby. You have to get yourself together because you're going to bring another life into this world.
Yes, ma'am. I know. I understand.
Okay. And it probably, you might want to consider not having any more babies right now until you can get your life straight because your baby deserves the best.
That's right. Thank you.
All right. So ma'am, I'm going to accept your plea of no contest. I'll sentence you to 12 months to serve 15 days. Credit for time served. The balance will be suspended as long as you do not go back to 364 Roy Huey Drive. Ma'am, just get your life together, because I don't want to see you back in this situation. This is number 4 for me, and number 1 upstairs in the felony court. So I really don't want to see you back here.
Okay.
All right. Anything else, Ms. Owens?
God bless you. Thank
Not
you.
at this time, Judge. Thank you.
Okay.
As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Have a blessed day, and I'll talk to you very soon.